Everybody, it's Andrew the Moo, and we got a cutscene coming up here in just a moment. Wasn't that last episode terrible? But that's what happens when I try to commentate over this game.
You made it! Quick, activate the relay switch to enable transmission.
Whoa! You're like a genius or something.
I have a feeling you're something special too.
Really? Well, I did take down a couple of camera monsters. Not like I'm a hero or anything.
Maybe you will be now. Pull the switch.
Uh-oh. Maybe that was the wrong move.
And here we are playing this level, and of course we have exactly what we knew was coming up. We have aliens to contend with. So yeah, they're getting ready to do their attack, and I actually goofed up a little bit there, but there we go, I'm actually getting this right now. But yeah, we have aliens to fight against. So yeah, we've gone from like straight up zombies to, you know, not zombies, aliens. Which, you know, the meteorites falling from the sky, if that wasn't enough to let you know that you were contending with aliens, I don't know what would tell you that. But of course, this is one of those bosses right here that's relatively easy to deal with. All you gotta do is, you got a whole bunch of the mini games to contend with. If you can do the mini games, you're good to go. But this is where I have had it with this game. Like, this is just, no, that's wrong. You don't go tossing cows at the moo. What are cows even doing in the middle of the city anyway? I mean, it's not like it's the movie Twister. Not like, you know, a cow's just being randomly picked up on a farm. Like, there are buildings, tall buildings all over the place here. And yet it picks up a how now brown cow? Just don't understand what's going on here. My wife would make fun of me right now going, just. But yeah, I mean, just stupid. But what can I expect from Rock of the Dead? Yeah. And, so, I mean, this is like a relatively easy boss fight right now, because you've just got a whole bunch of these mini-games to deal with. It's going to toss some how now brown cows at you, maybe a couple of missiles, but other than that, you don't have a whole lot you got to worry about. So, I guess I should take mention to, right now, while I'm at it, that I survived Irma. This is the first recording that I'm doing after Hurricane Irma. Our electricity was out from Monday morning, and it was really stupid in my mind as I get hit by one of those missiles. It was really dumb in my mind. It was really dumb because of the fact that, you know, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, most of the storm is already gone.
Now that's a mad cow.
Shut up. I gotta remember to actually do the audio for that so you can hear what he's saying. But it was the dumbest thing, like, most of the hurricane was gone. It was just like a lot of wind. And then I'm looking around, and I'm about to sit down in the office to do something, which, you know, office is where my gaming consoles are out. It's where a lot of other things are, my recording software, things of that nature. It's where I do a lot of my work. And so, as I'm sitting there, prepared to go ahead and start some work, I suddenly hear, I'm like, what is that? I hear, pow! And then the electricity went out. And the electricity was out from like Monday at 11 a.m. until Thursday evening at about 8 p.m. I think, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., something like that. So the electricity was out for a couple of days. And, you know, this is one of those moments where someone could say, well, that's just terrible. You were out, you know, your electricity was out for that long. That's horrible. That's dreadful. That's, you know, actually, I'm not complaining about it. I do think it's like something really, really dumb just for it to happen all of a sudden. But like, it's one of those things where I'm like, you know, there are worse things that could have happened. Because I have like 8 really big pine trees around my house. And actually considered the possibility of getting those suckers taken down. But anyway, like, the reason why it doesn't bother me is because of the fact that, I mean, let's be honest, guys. A tree could have fallen on the house, something could have happened to my wife and I, physically speaking. We could have been harmed in some way. Ah, the transmitter's gone.
Hey, wait, what are you doing? Mary Beth! Mary Beth! Man, I really thought I had a chance with her. They must have taken her to that canyon. The graveyard. There's a shortcut to the canyon. Hey, it can't be any dumber than taking the subway.
You know what? I'm going to give him that. It can't be any dumber than taking the subway. So, yeah, I'll give you that, Neil Patrick Harris. It's not any dumber than taking the subway. So, I mean, I'm just grateful that we didn't die is what I'm trying to get at. Of the dead, so now we're traversing through a graveyard.
All right, Mr. Graveyard, it's just you, me, and my guitar. Think you can take me? Yeah, well, I've heard that before.
So we've gone from like Super Beast, we've got Dragula. I'm fairly certain that we've hit the Living Dead Girl thing as well. I'm just still waiting for Meet the Creeper to occur. You know, the song Meet the Creeper, that's all I'm wanting. Anyway, so I mean, like I said, everything turned out all right. The worst thing that happened to us is we lost some food that was in our fridge. If that's the worst thing that's happened to us, hey, I'm fine with that. Because I know there were some people who lost their lives through the storm. Granted, they were down in Florida, but again, though, you know, there were even some people out where I live who faced a whole lot worse hardships during the hurricane than what I did. So I'm not going to sit there and like complain and act like this is the worst thing to ever happen to me. Okay. So that's all I was trying to get off. But one thing I want to make mention of is it's of particular importance that you pay attention to the various what is it? Give me a moment, and I'll actually think of what I'm wanting to say as I'm getting nailed by Chick Zombie. The rescue missions. You have to do all the rescue missions without letting anyone die, which I think I'm going to let someone die here. Had to go back and redo this. And once you do that, there will be some various... I'll show you up ahead where it's at if I can remember. But, like, in order to get one of the Rob Zombie pieces, there are a couple of things you got to do. And we have worms now. Instead of tentacles, we have gigantic worm creatures. So, like, we have the worms from Trimmers. The, oh, come on, what were they called? The grabbers? No, I don't think they were just called grabbers. There's another name they went by that I can't think of off the top of my head. Oh, well.
Actually, I'm still not sure about it.
So it's right over, no, not right here. You destroy the bats, and then right there. It's the blue piece that was there that I didn't grab. That would have been the Rob Zombie head. So if you miss, or Rob Zombie piece, you miss that piece, you miss out on the Rob Zombie part. Whoopsie. And at this point, I still have not realized that I have a blaster that I can use. Apparently it hasn't stuck in my head the way that it should. Just genius on my end. I'm the one that you wanted. Hey, yeah, I'm the super beast. Sorry. So, like, when I was a teenager, I guess I should mention, like, I loved heavy metal and hard rock. And I actually can think of times where I rocked out to a Rob Zombie album. I actually had the one that had Super Beast and Dragula and all that jazz on it. I think that's the only Rob Zombie album I ever owned, though. Although there are a couple of songs of his that I to this day, particularly find as, I guess, more or less guilty pleasures. So, I really don't know what to say at this point, other than the fact that it's this is what it is. You know, it's just a rail shooter. Oh, I was going to talk about horror movies. Yeah, horror movies. And with the fact that I've got like 3 minutes left on this thing, we can talk a little bit about horror movies. It won't hurt for us to do that. Yeah, over here. I hope you don't die, dude. Yeah, I actually saved him. Like, I think I meant to talk about B-movies, and I'm not talking about B-movies right now because it's just not enough time to discuss them like I'd like to. I would like to say, though, that my wife and I watched a horror movie here recently, Cabin in the Woods, which to me was as far as horror movies are concerned, it's a nice little spoof to some degree on horror movies. Even a nice play on the story of you've got the various tropes and how it's all rigged up in a certain way to, well, how the horror genre is kind of spoofed, so to speak, in order to in order to protect mankind. I'm going to leave it at that. On down the line, you saw some of the Japanese movies spoofed, some of the, definitely the American movies spoofed. I would recommend watching Cabin in the Woods. And I even had the opportunity, I don't think I mentioned this in an earlier episode, and if I did, my bad, or if I didn't, my bad. But, I had a chance to...
Our seeds began to grow inside your children.
What is up with these visions?
I had a chance to watch some horror movies that, so from back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I got Wren to sit down and we watched Final Destination 2 because I had to pay for Destination 1. And I'm like, no, not likely. And we also watched Jeepers Creepers, and pretty soon we're going to watch the second one. And I was just showing her a lot of horror movies that, this is the time of year around mid-September. When I'm doing this recording, to the end of October, where we watch various horror movies. Stuff we've never seen before, things that we think that the other would like, things of that nature. I love horror movies. And so she gets to pick out the next set of movies that we watched. I did Jeepers Creepers and Final Destination 2. And she said her thing about Final Destination 2 is that it was a dumb horror movie that she knows could never happen. And I'm thinking, well, that's kind of all horror movies. You know that the horror movies can occur. But, I digress. But, I mean, just stuff like that is enjoyable. Just to sit down and watch and, I don't know. I don't know what it is about me liking horror movies, but I just really do. Now, this section of the game is probably one of the more aggravating, and yet... it doesn't last a long time. You have, of course, you're in a graveyard, a zombie horde. And I still, at this point, have not thought to use the AOE area of attack. And yet, I'm glad that the zombies are, standing in the back row. Well, they were. And I'm trying my best, and I'm just not thinking about it. Thankfully, though, the nice thing is that despite what's happened, we run into the mausoleum, and we end the stage, and we end this episode. In the next episode, we'll play some more Rock of the Dead, and we'll talk about some B-rated horror movies. This is Andrew the Moose. Have a great day.